Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam stapitam yena bhutale. Thank you. Swayam rupa kadamahyam tadati svapadantikam vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapara-kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya-devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri-Visakhan Vitangscha Nama Om Vishnu-padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya-deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, as usual, we can go through the song of Srila Narottama Das Thakur, and we can sing, and then we can proceed from there. And how we'll proceed, we'll see. It may be a little different from what we have usually been doing. But first, let's find our song. Yes, Govardhana girivara kevala nirjana sthala. This is Swabhista Lalasa, song number 3 of Narottama Das Thakur's Prarthana. And as you probably know, the language of this song is the sweet Bengali language. It is Narottama Das's Prarthana, which means prayer, Prarthana, expressing, you could say, maybe you could say divine intention. Artha can mean purpose, and prefix makes it stronger, makes it more. It's an intensifier prefix. So, what does Narottama pray? In this song, he's anticipating. We've had some anticipation songs before, and now we have more anticipation, this time more personal service to the divine couple, and this time at a specific place, namely Govardhana. So if you have been to Govardhana, Madai, maybe, I don't know if, maybe you could bring some instruments down for musical accompaniment. Let's see. Govinda Stali and her mridanga playing talent. Do you play mridanga? Mridanga? We don't have many mridanga players in our society. This is a serious problem. I think if we had good mridanga players, it would make all the difference. We could spread this movement much more effectively. Anyway, Govardhana girivara kevala nirjana sthala kānu karibe śayane. Lalitā-viśākhā-sańge sevana rańge sukhamoy ratul chorone. In a solitary place, nirjan sthala, in a solitary place. On Govardhana Hill, the best of mountains, Sri Radha and Krsna sit on a couch. When accompanied by Lalita and Visakha, will I jubilantly serve their reddish lotus feet? Okay, so Govardhana girivara. So Vara, we know, means excellent or choice. So, and in English, the word choice can mean excellent. a choice mountain, girivara. So Govardhana is girivara. It's an excellent mountain. Kevala nirjan sthala. Kevala means only, nirjan without jana. Jana means people. So a place which is alone, a solitary place. And sthala means place. Kānu karibe śayane. Kānu refers to Radha and Krishna. Yes. Kānu is Krishna and Rai is Radha. Makes sense. I'm guessing, but I would think it's similar sort of making into familiar form. It's like we have Nitai for Nityananda, and we have Madai for Madhusudan, and Nimai for Nimai. And Ramai is another name, similar, Gadai. So these are sort of nicknames, you could say, in Bengali. So Rai is Radha. Rai Kānu. Kānu is Krishna. Karibe śayane. Śayana means recline. It means lying down. So reclining. So here it's being translated as sitting on a couch. Yeah, it's, we have, for example, Karana Daka Shayi Vishnu. karanadaka shayi. So shayi means śayane, one who lies down, one who reclines. So as Vishnu reclines, where does he recline? He reclines on the couch, which is a very special sort of a couch. A couch, ananta, yes, very good. Perfect couch for God. Ananta Shayane. So here, śayane, reclining. Karibe is the question word, when will be, when will, not when will be, when will do, when will make. And then Lalitā-viśākhā-sańge, together with Lalita and Visakha, sevana, karibo rańge. Again, karibo, when will I do sevana? Rańge, here I think means joyful. Sukhamoy, no, sukhamoy is joyful. Ratul chorane, to their lotus feet, which are reddish. Ratul, I don't know this ratul. Rańge, I think, can mean reddish, but I don't know. Rańge means color in general. So, okay, ratul. Atul means incomparable. Anyway, moving right along. Kanaka Shamputa Kari, Karpur Tambula Bhari, Jogaiba badana-kamale, Monimoy Kinkini Ratna Nupur Ani, Paraiba a-jūgale. When, excuse me, I think that when is implied, well, no, it's jogaiba and paraiba. Okay. When will I take camphor and betel nuts from a golden box? Kanaka Samputa. And place it in their lotus mouths. Jogaiba badana-kamale. Okay, badana. Badana means that which speaks, I think. So mouths. And kamala is lotus. When will I place jewel ankle bells on their lotus feet? Manimoy means full of jewels. Kinkini is ankle bells. Kinkini. Ratna, also jewels. Oh, wait. Back up. No. Kinkini. Oh, he didn't translate. Kinkini, I think, means waist bells, no? Waist bells. And nupur is ankle bells. Manimoy kinkini ratna nupur ani. So ani, I think, is taking. Paraiba charana jugale. I will place them. I will put them. Yeah. So jogaiba paraiba. Placing and placing. And then verse 3, Kanaka Katora Puri Sugandhi Chandanabhari Don Hakar śri-ańge Dalibo guru-rūpā-sakhībāme Tribanga Bhangima Tame Chamarer badana-kamale. When will I fill a golden goblet for the divine couple? Katora, I think. We always hear about katori, little cups, but he's translating goblet. Kanaka kotora, the golden goblet. Goblet, English word meaning, usually it means a glass with a stem. You know, it's like a wine glass. Hare Krishna, welcome. Jai Jai, welcome. Next space for devotees to come through here with the Mridanga. So we're just starting up our online program. Yeah, Kanaka Katora. Katora in this case, goblet. Anyway, some sort of a nice glass, cup. Puri, filling. Sugandhi Chandana Bhari. When will I anoint their beautiful limbs with aromatic sandal paste? So Sugandhi, Gandhi means nice aroma. Sugandhi, very nice. And Chandan, of course, Chandan. Chandan is Chandan. Yes. Bhari, so I guess it's smearing. Donha kar śri-ańge dalibo. No, dalibo, this would be I will smear. Donha kar, both of the of their limbs. Śri-ańge, their divine limbs. And then śri-rūpā-sakhībāme tribanga bhangima tame chamarir bhatasa kariba. When my spiritual master in his original form as a gopi at my left, guru-rūpā-sakhībāme, bhame means on the left, will I fan their threefold bending forms with a chamara whisk. So tribanga, of course, bhangima, tame, I don't know this tame, form, stame, chamarer bhatas kariba. So the bhatasa, the making wind, kariba, chamarer, with or of the chamara. Donhar, number 4, Donhar kamala anki, pulaka hoya daki, duhum para parashivo kore. Caitanya-dāsera das mone matro obilash, Narottama dase shoda spure. When seeing the lotus eyes of the divine couple, will the hairs of my body stand up in ecstasy? When will I directly touch their lotus feet? Duhum pada parashibo kore. Narottama Das, who is the servant of Lord Chaitanya's servants, desires in this way. He has no other desire. So Donhar Kamala Anki. So seeing Daki, the lotus eyes of the divine couple, Donhar of the two, literally, or of both, Kamala Anki. Anki is eyes, Kamala is lotus. Pulaka hoya, my hairs of my body will be standing up. Duhu pada parashibo gore. When will I directly touch their lotus feet? Duhu pada, both again, dohar duhu, both their feet, parashibo, I will touch. It's this kind of reversal that's done. The Sanskrit word is sparsha. And I know, thank you. And so instead of sparsha, it becomes parsha. And then this becomes parashibo, one syllable is added, parashibo kore. And again, it's future tense. So when will I touch? When will I do the touching of their lotus feet? Caitanya-dāsera Das, Narottama, who's the servant of Lord Chaitanya's servants, Mone matra obilash, this is his only desire, Narottama das shoda spure. This is his own, this is always his desire. It's his desire, only desire, and it's always his desire. Like that. Right. So let's try it, shall we? Govardhana Giri Vare kevala nirjana sthala. Wait, I have to fix this. Music on, yes. Govardhana girivara kevala nirjana sthala. Govardhana girivara kevala nirjana sthala. Kānu karibe śayane. Kānu karibe śayane. Kānu karibe śayane. Kānu karibe śayane. Lalitā-viśākhā-sańge sevana kariba rańge. Lalitā-viśākhā. Lalitā-viśākhā-sańge sevana kariba rańge. Sukhamoy ratu cha rane sukhamoy raja sukhamoy ratu charane kanaka samputa kori karpuratam-bula bani kanaka samputa kanaka samputa kori karpuratam-bula bani Jogaibo badana-kamale badana-kamale Jogaibo badana-kamale Mani moy kinkini ratna nupura ani mani moy kinkini ratna nupura mani moy kinkini ratna nupura ani mani moy kinkini paraibo charanaju gale kariba paraibo charanaju gale kanaka kota kanaka katora puri sugandhi chandana bari bari kanaka katora puri sugandhi chandana bari donhakara śri-ańge daliba donhakara śri-ańge daliba donhakara śri-ańge livo. Guru-rūpā-sakhībāme tribanga-bhangima-tame. Guru-rūpā-sakhībāme tribanga-bhangima-tame. Chamare batasa karibo. Chamare batasa kariba. Chamare batasa karibo. Chamare. Don't have kamala anke pulaka haya deke. Don't have kamala anke pulaka hai. Don't have kamala anke pulaka haya deke. Dohum pada shiva kade. Duha pada shiva kade. Caitanya-dāsera Dasa mane matra vilasa. Caitanya-dāsera mane matra abi. Caitanya-dāsera Dasa mane matra abhilasa. Narottama Dasa shada spure. Narottama Dasa shada spure. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Srila Narottama Das Thakura ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's go back to music off. All right. So, some more guests are arriving. Hare Krishna, welcome. Serdecznia witamy. Tak? Tak. There's plenty of places to sit. Don't be shy. So, as I said before, we're in Sadhu-bhavan, and apologies for missing last Saturday. It was a bit too close to Janmashtami and Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja, so it was a day of recovering from the festivals, which are meant to be regenerating, and then we need to recover from the regeneration. Seems like. But here we are again. And as I said before, we're having a sort of double festival today. I believe more devotees are expected. And in any case, here we are together also online. You can all see the screen there in front. You can see who's here. Yes. Okay. I would like to suggest two of you are here online. Sitarani and Leela Mai Radha, you're both in Hong Kong, yes? Would one or both of you like to tell us, Hare Krishna, welcome. Would one or both of you like to tell us about the stormy time you've been having there?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, and all
Hare Krishna.
the devotees. I think Lila Mai is more clear because I was not here during the most serious time.
Oh, where were you?
I was in UK.
You were still in UK. Oh, okay.
At that time. So I think Lila Mai is more clear. Are you okay to say, Lila Mai? Sorry, Guru Maharaj.
Oops.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, dear devotees.
Hare
Greetings,
Krishna.
Hong Kong, obeisances to all of you. Yeah, I'm reporting from Hong Kong. It was kind of like shocking. We didn't expect because the night before we were celebrating Janmashtami, me and some like new friends, we were like dancing. You know, we had the abhishek, like kirtan, and then we so happy. We didn't expect anything like a storm or like big flood. And then when on the way home, like around like 11 p.m., then the rain started to come. And then in my mind, it reminds me of Vasudeva carrying Krishna, you know, crossing the river out from the jail. So I say, wow, this is, yeah, it's a good indication. Krishna is, you know, soon to appear. And then we just went home. And then the next day we watched the news and it says everything stopped. The government says it's extreme condition. So no school, no work, no transportation. And then we started to see like news from the TV, internet, you know, like flooding. Very serious. In one Wong Tai Sin Center, the ground floor like flooded, all the shop like covered. You can only see the what's the word, like the name of the shop. So it was kind of scary. Yeah, so quite turbulent. But now it's okay. But still have that feeling that maybe another storm will come. And then we watch news, the big flood in Libya. Yeah. So yeah, so feeling a little distressed.
Yeah, it seems
but
like
everyone is fine here. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. It seems like now extreme weather is accelerating the events of extreme weather. I just read, I hadn't known anything about it. I'm not so much reading news, some headlines here and there. But then I saw that there was this huge storm in Libya, North Africa, which caused a huge flood. Welcome, welcome. Serdechna Vitame, come in. Come, sit. Shedai. Hare Krishna. There's plenty of space. There's more sitting space here. Oh, okay. Yeah, quite some disaster there. This dam was broken and sort of much of this whole city was destroyed, and thousands, like they were estimating more than 11,000 people lost their lives. So these things seem to be accelerating. And still we sort of go on as if everything is okay. Strange times. strange times. Okay, thank you, Lila Radha. Hong Kong Yatra Ki Jai. Meanwhile, I guess you're getting ready for Kartik already. Something like that. Hare Krishna, welcome. Please come in and make yourselves, as they say, make yourself at home. There's everyone likes to be very humble. They sit in the back, and there's space in the front. Yes. Jai, Hare Krishna. You just missed our musical session. We should have had you for it. But there'll be more music later. Yes, okay. Anyone else have anything you'd like to report in terms of news or otherwise? Please feel welcome. Otherwise, I have a small show and tell. As so often, I like to show books. And in this case, this is not so new, but some of you may not know about it, and you may like to know. This is one of a series called Chaitanya Subodhini. This is a study guide to Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I've just been working through it as I prepare for 2 presentations I'm going to be giving soon on Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is done by the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapith in the Govardhana eco-village, and specifically this is being done by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, I believe, is the main author. And as I said, it's a series. He's also done similar overview guides to the entire Bhagavatam. I don't know if the entire, but much of it so far. And this overview guide for study of Chaitanya Charitamrita is in 4 volumes like this. It's done in a very reader-friendly sort of way, with lots of boxes and bullet points and charts like this for easy overviewing. Yeah, it's in English for all you English readers, and for all of you who are not English readers. Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. There must be someone who can help you with translating. As I said, I'm reading this now because I'm preparing in a few days in England. We're going to have a kind of study retreat for a program called Gaudiya Studies. There will be about 20 students. These are students who have already attended an online course, an 8-week course in the study of Gaudiya Vaishnavism with an academic flavor, if you like. There are pillows also if you want to be more comfortable. You can use pillows on chairs. Pillows on stairs. No? Pillows are too big for the stairs. That's the problem. That works. Yes, that's better. To lepsze. Tak? Okay. And then in a few weeks, I'm also going to be facilitating an all-day seminar at the Bhakti, on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, at the Bhakti Center in New York, in Manhattan. So for that purpose, I'm reading these study guides to help me remember and help me to think how to best present what is really a very extensive work, Chaitanya Charitamrita, of Krishnadas Kaviraj. I'm wondering if we should open some windows. Yeah, to get some air. Air is a good thing. Yes. Okay. Good. Next, I thought to read briefly from, this is also an older book. When was it published? 2004. So almost 20 years ago. Our Srila Prabhupada, a friend to all, early contemporaries remember him, compiled by Mula Prakriti Devi Dasi. She interviewed these several devotees and their memories of Srila Prabhupada before he came to the West. These are devotees, friends who knew Srila Prabhupada as, some of them just knew him as Bhakti, as Abhay Charan, or as Bhaktivedanta Swami. So here's a very short memory from Srimati Gargi Devi Dasi. Gargi Devi Dasi. So who is Gargi Devi Dasi? The sister of Uma Didi of the Keshavji Gaudiya Math. She became a disciple of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj in 1940. Who is Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj? Who knows in relation to our Srila Prabhupada? Yes. Say, please. Yes, or to put that in English, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was the sannyas guru of our Srila Prabhupada, and he received sannyas initiation in this Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. In which year did Srila Prabhupada receive sannyas initiation? Anyone know? Little quiz question. Close, 1959. Yeah. And it adds here, she is performing her bhajan in Chunchura, West Bengal. Okay, she says, in the 1940s, when our first Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti Mat was being established, everyone addressed Srila Swami Maharaj as Abhay Charan Babu because he was a grihasta. I remember him coming several times to the mutt in Chunchura. He came from Kolkata and would stay in the mutt here overnight on the weekends. When he visited us, while Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, was residing here, they would associate together privately and intimately. We noticed them deeply absorbed in discussing Hari Katha. When the mutt was small, they sometimes stayed together in the same room. He was a very intimate friend of our Gurudeva, and we all gave him respect. Because Abhay Babu was a senior devotee and a godbrother of our Gurudeva, he would give Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam classes. During that time, his reputation became well known. He was considered an erudite, that is very learned, erudite advanced Vaishnava, humble, shastric, and carefully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. The dogs here having their kirtan. It's all very exciting for them. They don't usually see so many people here. At that time, he was also a businessman selling chemicals and pharmaceutical products in Kolkata. But I noted how supporting his family seemed to create. I noted how supporting his family seemed to create a conflict. He was so deeply absorbed in his Krishna consciousness. Even then, his enthusiasm for serving Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati by strong writing and preaching was stronger than anything else in his life. Now, so much later, all of the Vaishnavas are seeing the fruits of his Krishna consciousness. And that's the end of her account. So that's very nice. There's also a longer memory in this book by Srila Narayan Maharaj of the relation between our Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. It's very nice. You know this book. Yeah. And then, because Janmashtami is an eternal pastime, just because it happened a few days ago, and in any case, the pastimes of the Lord are ongoing, we can remember Krishna's pastimes with the help of Sri Krishna Lila Stava. This is such a fun book, I think, of Srila Sanatana Goswami, remembering Krishna's pastimes by offering prayers to the Lord. Each line of each verse is an address to the Lord, glorifying him in relation to his pastimes. So, for example, this is still in his appearance pastime section. Verse 49, Devaki Garba Satratna Balabhadra Priyanuja Gadagraja Prasidashu Subhadra Purvajavamam. Seems like they're barking more now that we opened the windows. They're taking it as cue. Yeah, maybe just we leave this side open. Yeah, it's all very exciting for the two four-legged devotees. O precious jewel of Devaki's womb, dear younger brother of Balabhadra, elder brother of Gada and Subhadra. Gada, who is Gada? Please quickly be satisfied with me, please protect me. And Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu gives us a one sentence commentary to this verse. He says, the protection Srila Sanatana Goswami requests from Sri Krishna is to be allowed to remember the Lord's pastimes always. So it's an interesting notion of protection. We usually think of protection as some sort of, shielding, something that keeps physical danger away from us. Yeah, that's how we usually think of protection, but he's saying there's another way to think of protection, especially when thinking of the Lord's protection. What is the best way to be protected by the Lord? He's saying the way to be protected by the Lord is to be allowed by the Lord to remember his pastimes always. And part of remembering the Lord's pastimes is remembering his relationships. And therefore he's addressing him, O precious jewel of Devaki's womb, dear younger brother of Balabhadra, elder brother of Gada and Subhadra, please quickly be satisfied with me. Please protect me. We don't really hear about Gada. Can anyone tell us something about Gada? Says he's a younger brother. And Subhadra, of course, we know Subhadra is the younger sister. In any case, another verse, verse number 50. Ascharya bala mang pahi. Oh, this is going to be more protection. Ascharya bala mang pahi. Divya-rūpā pradarshaka. Karagarandhakaragna. Sutika griha bhushana. O wondrous child, displaying your radiant form of Godhead, destroying the prison's darkness. O ornament of the delivery chamber, please protect me. So he has different features of Krishna described. Ascharya bala, wondrous child, Ascharya. We know this word ascharya from Bhagavad Gita. Anyone know the verse? Second chapter. Ascharyavat paschati kaschidenam. Ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanya. Ascharyavat chainam. Anya shrinoti shutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. He repeats ascharyavat 3 times. It is wondrous, wondrous. Yakshamovi popolsku, wondrous, wonderful. Spaniała jiva zadziwiająca. Yeah, I think that would be zadziwiająca. Sounds like it. So Ascharya Bala, O child who is wondrous. Mam pahi pahi. This is the request. This is where he's saying, protect me. Pahi mam, please protect me. Divya Rupa Pradarshaka. Divya means, what means Divya? Yes. Divya Rupa Pradarshaka. Darshaka means one who makes himself or herself visible, or makes something else visible. Pradarshaka, who really does it. So, O displayer, he translates, O you who display your transcendental form. So it's not that the Lord's transcendental form is always invisible. It can be made visible, but only when the Lord allows it to be made visible. And then karagara, andakara, gna. This is a nice expression. Karagara andakara gna. That's all one. Well, it's 3 words, but it's one compound. So a karagara is a prison. I forgot the word for prison. Popolsko. Vienjenia. Yeah. And andakara means darkness, and gna means destroyer. Gna. So, O you who destroy the darkness of prison, of a particular prison, of course, the prison where he appeared. We could take that in a broader sense, if we like. The prison of material existence, the darkness of the prison of material existence in which we conditioned souls find ourselves. So then we can remember the Lord as he who destroys that darkness. Krishna Surya Sam, Maya Hoy, Andakar, Jahan Krishna, Tahan Nahi, Maya Adhikar. And there's no Adhikar, there's no influence or power or qualification of Maya wherever there is the sunlight of Krishna. Krishna is compared to Surya, Krishna Surya Sam. Maya Hoy Andakar, Krishna is compared to darkness, the Andakar that's mentioned here. Jahan Krishna, Tahan Nahi, Maya Adhikar. There's no Adhikar of Maya, Jahan, wherever there is Krishna. So, Karagarandhakaragna, O you who destroy the andhakara, the darkness of the prison of material existence. And finally, Sutika Griha Bhushana. O ornament bhushana of the Sutika Griha. What's a Sutika Griha? A Sutika Griha is the delivery chamber. It's where a child is born. That's the room, the chamber, the place. So the Lord appears in this prison, which is also his delivery room. And when he appears, then he becomes the ornament of that place, bhushan. And of course, very soon he's going to leave that place. Right. Okay, that's a little from Sanatana Goswami's obeisance. He's offering 108 obeisances in the course of this book. His final or second to last obeisance is to the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. These are very nice prayers, 5 of them, which I think we've talked about here before. Which number does it start with? Yes, I think that's it. Yeah. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokaika Drik Prada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. That's an address. It's a prayer to the Bhagavatam. Therefore, it's saying you, O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, and so on. Sarva Vedaika Satpala. You're the Satpala, the true fruit of, or the singular true fruit, Eka Satpala, of all the Vedas. Sarva Siddhanta Ratna Adya, the rich gems of all conclusions, and Sarvaloka Ekadrik Prada, O giver of sight, the power of sight, to all the lokas, the only giver of sight. Okay. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. All right. Now, we have been in the past few weeks making some attempts at reading and reflecting on and understanding or seeing what we don't understand, descriptions of the cosmos in the 5th canto Bhagavatam. Why were we doing that? Well, again, because I am preparing for a presentation I've been asked to give at the Bhaktivedanta Institute of Higher Studies, as they call it, Bhaktivedanta Institute of Higher Studies in Gainesville, Florida, this coming November. So I've been reading and reflecting on that. And so you've all been helpful for me to do that just by being a resonator, so to say, to read some of this. We looked at some commentary, and one of the things we perhaps appreciated about the commentaries is their fealty, their loyalty to the text. They simply want to represent the text as it's been received by them. And so what they're generally doing in their commentaries is making clarifications of the text itself without any attempt to sort of go beyond it and consider broader questions which we might have, which I certainly have in reading all of that. But that is not my subject today. You may be happy to know that is not my subject today. My subject today is, well, it's a variety of things which are sort of leading into some reflections which I want to suggest in the spirit of inviting everyone, whether online or personally present. Hare Krishna, welcome. You're just in time. We're going to discuss a sort of a loose collection of thoughts which I have noticed from reading and reflecting this last week, and then move into, as time allows briefly, a discussion what I've noted here I'm calling the Hare Krishna movement dreams. Hare Krishna movement dreaming, maybe, might be a better way of putting it. That, I'll come back to it, but this grows out of an experiment which I made several weeks ago in Serbia. We had a very nice summer camp in Serbia. Many devotees gathered, and I was asked to lead a discussion, a Bhagavatam class on the last morning. And it occurred to me, kind of without any planning, that it would really be interesting and possibly helpful for us to do some fantasizing about what we would like to imagine for the Hare Krishna movement. And so I kind of invited the devotees, in a sense, I gave them permission to let loose their imaginations, to think of what kind of possibilities there might be for developing what our Srila Prabhupada so many times called the Hare Krishna movement. I'll give I have a few thoughts myself, which are just meant to, as I say sometimes, to prime the pump, to get you also thinking in this way. But before we go there, let's see what I've written. I have to see if this makes any sense myself after a week. Oh yes, this is a comment that I read from one Roman Catholic author, Richard Rohr. He's a Franciscan who has a blog, and he's, I think he writes quite insightfully from his Christian perspective. He says, sacrifice implies an angry God who needs to be bought off. To buy off someone means to bribe someone. You know the word to bribe? Jak się mówi po polsku? Przeczekop. talk. Okay. Yes, to buy someone, literally to buy someone off, right? So he wants to contrast the idea of sacrifice with another idea of religion. He says, rather, we want, quote, a positive spirituality which draws us together, draws us toward lives of inner depth, prayer, reconciliation, healing, and universal at-one-ment, as he calls it. It's kind of an invented expression, at-one-ment. Now, what do we think about this? Well, my first thought is maybe we should not be so hasty to reject the notion of sacrifice, since it's very much at the core of our understanding of service. But perhaps this is where we can find a bridge with the word service. We have the word yajna in our tradition, and it's usually translated as sacrifice. But as Richard Rohr says, sacrifice implies an angry God who needs to be bought off, needs to be bribed. Well, we might want to say, yes, that's one way of understanding sacrifice, but there's another way to understand sacrifice, a more positive way, and that is yajna, in which it's not about bribing God, it's about reciprocating with God. It's about giving service and reciprocating, which seems to be sort of behind the positive thing which he's saying. He says, he wants to contrast. He says, rather, we want a positive spirituality. Okay, yes, we want a positive spirituality, which draws us toward lives of inner depth. Okay, that sounds good. And then prayer, reconciliation. What is reconciliation? Reconciliation means coming back together when there's been some sort of separation, some sort of break, some sort of disconnect or alienation. So he says, coming together. Yes, that's also nice. Healing. Yes, that's also nice. And a universal at-one-ment. In other words, a coming together of, we could say, all beings, all creatures, in some sense. So it all sounds very good, but I think our question might be, well, that's, yes, it's very good. Now, how is that, how do you do that? How do you do that? And I think this is where our tradition has something positive to contribute. And I use the expression contribute in a careful way to say, I think this is a helpful way to think of how we can act in the world, that whatever the world is or is not, it may be a prison, it may be a very dark prison. Is there a way that Vaishnavas, devotees of Lord Krishna, can contribute some light in the world, can bring some light into the world? Is there some way? And we want to propose, yes, it is possible. And how is it possible? Well, Krishna gives extensive guidance in especially Bhagavad Gita as a starting point. a starting point, which is not just one that one goes quickly through and moves on to, but one that one returns to again and again for its essential teaching. And yeah, already in the 3rd chapter, he's telling that this is something that this sacrifice, this is something that was given to all of the world, all of humanity. Saha yagya prajashishtva purovacha prajapati anena prasavishyadvameshavostvishta kamaduk. That the progenitor, which can refer to Lord Brahma, at the beginning of creation, together with creation, Saha Yagya, he created the world, and part of the package was Yagya. And what for? For everyone to benefit and for everyone to be peaceful and happy and satisfied. Anena, by this, prashavisyadvam, let everyone be nourished, be satisfied, be pleased. So I think that would be something we can reflect on, how we can contribute to the world without making it this sort of either or, which he's suggesting here. I think we could agree with him, this author, Richard Rohr, that we don't want to relate with an angry God who needs to be bought off, who needs to be bribed. We don't want that, certainly. But that doesn't mean that there is not sacrifice. But what is sacrifice? And then we understand from our acharyas, it's about, in this age, something very simple and sublime that everyone can do, and that is to chant God's names. And if someone says, well, we don't chant the names of God because they're too, they're not to be spoken. I just learned yesterday in Islamic tradition, I always thought there are 100 names. Sorry, I always thought there are 99 names, but I'm told no, there are 100 names, 99 of which are allowed to be pronounced, and one of which should not be pronounced. Okay, take any one of the 99 names. We have a tradition with lots of names. There's the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. So, Hare Krishna, welcome, come. Serdechnya Vitami. There's plenty of comfortable asanas here. You don't have to stay in the doorway. There's more room up here in front. Please come forward. Everyone's very shy. Shyness is a very good quality, but it doesn't serve one purpose, and that is to keep the doorway clear. Hare Krishna, welcome. Okay, that was one thing that I noted. Something else I noted, a statistic, and that is that we are estimated to be a total population, human population on this planet presently of over 8 billion. 8 billion. When I was born, it was, I don't know, it was something like 3 billion. I don't remember what they say. Anyway, 8 billion. Now, if you take 50% of all people. Oh, now is the bringing of the water ceremony. You can put it here. Thank you. If you take all the combined wealth of the lower 50%, that means 4 billion people, it does not equal 0.1%, the wealth of 0.1%. So put another way, there are, what's 0.1? That's 1/10 of 1%. And what does that come to for 8 billion? Anybody know? It comes to 8 million. 8 million is, well, it's about the population of Hong Kong plus 500,000 people, maybe. So if we imagine that population, the wealth of the top wealthiest people, the top 0.1%, is greater than that of the lower 50% of the world population. 8 million against 4 billion people. So does that sound very equitable? Does that sound very balanced? What do you think? Okay, we got a response. What about communist countries? No, that we're not talking about ideologies. You want to talk about ideologies. I'm just talking about amounts of money or wealth. Actually, the vast majority of people in the Western countries are owing money to the banks, and therefore they are minus. So I just heard a comment from our Cosma. He said, it's been said, if you have 20 euros or 20 zlotys in your pocket and you have no debts, that means you're more wealthy than the vast majority of people in the world. Because so many people are in debt. What to think about that? Well, okay, some want to say, yes, therefore, we should have a socialist system, we should have this system or that system. I don't know if it's about this or that system, but I think it comes back to, yeah, I think we can look at it again through the lens of Bhagavad Gita. I don't believe that in the traditional culture that we identify with Bhagavad Gita, the teachings, economic teachings, if you like, of, yeah, 4 varnas, of the practice of sacrifice, just the idea of performing one's duty for the sake of the duty rather than for the fruits for oneself. I think all of this can also contribute significantly to address such a problem. Maybe just one more interesting comment that I read. Yeah, we were discussing cosmography, cosmology, and Srila Prabhupada was rather fond several times of commenting on the supposed launching or the supposed mission to the moon. I remember it was in 1969 when we are supposed to believe that they landed on the moon. And Srila Prabhupada was watching the television when that was being shown. And he was skeptical through the whole thing. And he would say different things. Sometimes he would say they haven't gone to the moon, they can't go to the moon. At least once he said, well, even if they went to the moon, they cannot stay there. And he would also say, they may have gone to some other planet. They may have gone to, Rahu. But they certainly didn't go to the moon. Why? Because moon, Chandra, is a very opulent place, and where they've gone, there's just some dust and dirt and rocks. In any case, I just read there are now on the moon planet, or what is thought to be the moon, whether or not it's the moon, there are now 100 bags of human waste. So we have already the human race on this planet. In our race to the moon, what are we doing there? What benefit are we bringing to the moon? We're simply bringing our waste, our garbage. And it's waste which distinguish. This is, from a biological standpoint, there's nothing that distinguishes the human beings from all other forms of life than our waste. Because the waste of all other beings, it is fully biodegradable, whereas the waste of human beings, yes, much of it may be degraded after hundreds or even thousands of years. Something to think about as we continue producing waste on this planet. This is not to mention all of the space waste. There's an increasing danger, it's reported, of the fragments from now there are hundreds, I think thousands of satellites going around this planet. And they create what they call space junk. Fragments of metal, which are, just going through space at thousands of kilometers per hour or per second. And if anything, if that collides with anything, then it can be devastating. Okay, I know you thought that was kind of strange topic to talk about, but it was on my mind. So now, for our last 17 minutes together online, I want to make some suggestions, and maybe you'll have suggestions. Hare Krishna movement dreams, dreaming of a Hare Krishna movement. I have different categories here. The first one is education. And I mentioned this first because this is something which I've been engaged with in actuality the last several years. So there is in Oxford, as some of you know, a center for the study of what is, for better or worse, called Hinduism. So it's called the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. And within this center, which is an academic center, where many, many professors from around the world have been hosted, and which has really raised the reputation, you can say, of the study of our tradition and other related traditions. This center is doing quite well. And what I want to dream is that instead of there being just one such center, that there would be so many all over the world. Best, I think, is that they are closely connected with universities. So if we would have a center for, maybe we don't want to call it Hindu studies, maybe we want to call it, Indic religion studies or whatever, somehow in relation to University of Warsaw, I think that could be very nice. Or Krakow, because in Krakow, there's an established department. I don't know if they call it Indologia or what they call it nowadays, but South Asian studies, something. And also in Warsaw and in Wrocław, there's Sanskrit studies. Related to this, professorships. And I mention this especially because something interesting has been happening the last, 10 or 15 years in the world of Jain studies. Please come in. You're welcome. Prabhu, come sit in a comfortable place. Make yourself at home. Hare Krishna. Poduszka jest. Yeah, Jain studies has sort of been exploding around the world, especially in America. There are many scholars of Jainism who have been given positions at universities. So more and more people are studying Jainism in the West. And why is that possible? It's possible because wealthy people who want to support Jainism are funding those university professorships. There's a lot more wealth collectively amongst Hindu and we can say also Vaishnava business people, I would think, than there is amongst Jain business people, although Jain people are known for being wealthy. So the possibility of having professorships in Vaishnava studies should be recognized as a possibility and turned into a reality, I would suggest. Okay, this is about education. So another dream I had is of exhibits of bhakti, exhibits of Krishna bhakti, exhibits of Vaishnava culture, all things related, exhibits in all different forms. These can be stationary exhibits, they can be mobile exhibits, they can be online exhibits. And speaking of online, there is gradually more and more, and I think there could be a lot more, production of podcasts. Our very own Madai Jivan Nitai has just posted another one of his world famous interviews. Just yesterday, he interviewed Yogavati Devi Dasi, and anyone else he's interviewed here. He didn't interview you yet? Well, not yet. So podcasts, films, educational games. Educational games. I came across some time ago an educational game which is used by professors who are teaching about Indian religion. And it's focused on Durga. And it's a game which takes you here and there to discover different things about Durga. And what surprised me about that game was it included references to written resources that you could, that the students could then go to read more about. And one of the references was to something that I wrote. So I thought, yes, let's do more educational games. Another sort of education, which I would like to dream about, and which is also happening, and that is reading circles. A reading circle. Anybody here is part of a reading circle? Anyone online? Yes, Lalita Rama and Amarachandra. Anyone else? So reading circles can be composed of minimum 2 persons and any number. I think it's good to keep them rather small. They can be done online, and you can meet as whenever you arrange for yourselves. I'm presently in a small reading circle. Small means there are 3 of us, and we are reading only 1 hour every 2 weeks. But what we are reading is Sanskrit commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading Sanatana Goswami's commentary on Canto 10, Chapter 1. And we're taking our time. But it's very nice. It's a lot of fun. I recommend reading circles. I know one group for some time, they were meeting every morning. I think there were also 3 of them, and they would meet 15 minutes every morning. Just 15 minutes, Bhagavatam. Just reading, quick discussion, any insights, thoughts, reflection, 15 minutes, and the day begins. And they would do this in the morning before going to work, going to their regular business. Okay, children's yoga camps. Children, oh yes, there are children. Somewhat of an afterthought in the Hare Krishna movement, unfortunately. So much can be said about that, but I want to simply say, in a positive spirit, there can be children's yoga camps. Of course, we can say there can be children's bhakti yoga camps. Maybe they should be more broadly conceived, simply yoga camps. Yoga, physical yoga, I think is something that can be interesting for children. And then within that, there can be everything else, especially kirtan and so many ways of entertaining and educating. Then I'm thinking in another category, namely community involvement. And here, something which I remember from several years ago, a conference in Radhadesh, where one of the leading teachers of mediation was invited to speak to the devotees. Mediation is a formal process where when there are two or more persons in conflict, they may call a mediator, someone who is trained to help them to communicate so that they can come to some understanding, some kind of agreement. There's also arbitration. In English, the word arbitration is different. Arbitration is where it's the arbitrator, the person in the middle, who makes the decision what is going to happen, whether or not the parties agree. They simply decide this is how it's going. So it's something like a judgment. But mediation is different. Mediation is where, let's talk about this. Let's try to get through the blockages, the persistent misunderstanding. So that's a profession which people learn. And what I remember from this person speaking is he was speaking to Hare Krishna devotees, and he was saying, you Hare Krishnas are natural mediators. And I thought, he doesn't know us. We're always fighting with each other. But I think he had a point that it's something which maybe not everyone, but many devotees could take as a career, as something to learn, as something to become trained in, and then to use it in the public sphere, in the wider world. And what he was suggesting was, if you really take this seriously, you as a society could become something you are known for. Oh, there's conflict between us. What should we do? Let's get a Hare Krishna mediator to help us out. So, of course, we don't have any kind of reputation like that now. But he was suggesting a possibility, which I like to imagine is a realistic possibility if devotees would take it up. Another profession, which a few devotees, very few, have taken. In America, I believe there's more facility for this. That is chaplaincy. Do you know what a chaplain is? Well, it can be for soldiers, it can be a military chaplaincy, it can be in a university, it can be in a hospital. A chaplain is something like a priest. Kapila? Kapilan. That's what I'm trying to say. Kapilan, yeah. So there are kapilan, there are chaplains in all kinds of institutions, especially in hospitals, in universities, in prisons, in the military. So in Oxford, Shonagarishi Prabhu, who is the director of the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies, he's also the Hindu chaplain for the University of Oxford. He is the go-to person when anyone, any student, could be a professor, anyone who identifies with Hinduism, feels the need for some spiritual guidance, he's the one they go to. There's another chaplain, I don't know if he's still chaplain, but at Princeton University in America, Venkatabhatta Prabhu is a chaplain. So that's, again, it's a profession. It's something one can be trained in. One gets a qualification, one gets a certificate, and so on. In Shonaga's case, I don't think he had to take any training. I think he was simply recognized as naturally qualified for it. But generally, there's a training process. Well, my idea was to get you talking about these things and your own ideas. Our time online has pretty much come to an end. Maybe this is something we could take up next time. And maybe for those of us who are here in person, I don't want to say in person, we're all in person, physically here. We'll see if we want to have further discussion, but I don't want to keep those of you who are online from our regular schedule. So I will say thank you all very much for coming, for your participation. And I should now check. I think next week might be difficult, but then again, I have to see what the schedule is going to be. Next week, we're celebrating Radhastami, and I'm going to be at Singachalam in Germany. So it may be that we can have a session, or it may be that we don't have a session. We will let you know. Is that all right? It better be all right, because I don't know what else can. Oh, yes. Okay. Right, so thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardana Yat Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tadastume.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Krishna,
Guru
Guru
Maharaj, Himachalam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Jai.
Gurudev.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gurudev.
I think this is how we should always do it. At the end of the lecture, that's when the Swami should get the garland, not before. Anyway.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.